pressed for time ahead of the merge tonight, we decided to spring an early merge on these lucky folks. So what we're going to do is continue with the tribal challenge as normal, but tell them that it's a merge tonight and chaos should ensue.
Yeah, so to be clear, it's going to be half of them are going to be immune, but everybody's going to be voting.
Right. Kind of like I was going to say, it'll be kind of like a half merge.
Half merge. It's going to be especially interesting because we have a couple people who pre-voted already tonight. And there's a good chance that their pre-vote will be for somebody who is immune.
Yep, and Jillian's getting her, penalty vote.
She might get a dog pile for that.
She'll get her penalty vote. Marcus isn't going to be around tonight. I don't think Charlie's going to be around tonight, but he hasn't pre-voted at all. So
they're going to be in for a shock when they come back.
Somebody could get sent home with like maybe 4 votes with how many people are going to be here tonight.
Nice. All right, so let's recap a little. Where did we leave off at the swap?
Yeah, I think the swap is the last time we talked. Was me, you, and Love.
So I don't know about y'all, but for me, this has been one of the better pre-merge seasons so far. You know, we talked a little bit.
Absolutely.
We talked a little bit about like Morocco's pre-merge outshining its post-merge, but I think this kind of blows that out the water.
I think that the power shifts in this one have been way more interesting than the moves made in Morocco. Like Morocco had that one big tribal, and I feel like we, even just this week, had 3 big tribals.
Yeah. No, I would say this is for a newbie season, other than a couple of sort of inactive people sticking around. This is about as good as you can hope for a pre-merge to be. Even the 1 or 2 inactive people at the beginning, like whatever, I'm actually fine with that because that allows people to kind of stew and build trust and stuff like that. But then all the other votes have been for 3 people have gotten votes at a given tribal. And unlike Morocco, where people were voted out more out of stupidity, this has been like conscious power shifts, so, like Danny was saying. So I love it.
Yeah, and I think, the biggest I feel like what we're getting is the best of both worlds. Like, I feel like we've gotten the amazing characters that we got in Morocco, but we're seeing them realized how we wish they would have. And it's been fascinating. I think a lot of that has to do with the female-male split. Certainly that's added to the dynamics a little bit, but also I just think we got lucky with really good people. In particular, the women have been killing it. There were a few good men, namely Randy. Ace was pretty good. War Dog was pretty good, who we lost, unfortunately. But I think, going into a merge, this is primed for a good collision.
Every single woman who's left is fantastic in their own way, and a couple are like already all-stars in my book. So
yeah, I just want to go over the highlight reel of what happened. So we swapped, and immediately Reem took control of the new tribe. Although there was a little bit of a power struggle with Michelle and Lauren, and then Reem and Jillian. But the men are so terrible this season that I think the women put all that aside and decided to vote together to get rid of a man, War Dog, on their first tribal. And then the other 2 tribals have been on Atlasova, which were mostly male dominated until this last vote. I felt like even the first vote that they went to was super exciting because we had the Crystal gaff where it
was supposed to be the tie vote and Crystal accidentally voted for the wrong person.
Right. Yeah. Like that was super disappointing to watch, but also super hilarious. And I think the payoff in this next round was so worth that had we known that was going to happen, that we wouldn't have cared at all. But seeing Randy really change the game by dragging in Devins to blindside Ace, I think, the final pre-merge boot, that was pretty as epic as it can get, saving our favorite Susie for one of the bigger douchebags of the season.
Absolutely. In 2, there's Randy also, I think, made a fantastic move in that at the last second said that he was still going to vote with the guys, so that way they would still trust him, and that is paying off immensely.
Well, in both votes on Atlasova, Randy has been able to pull it off to the point where the other men on the tribe are feeding him all the information. Crystal's vote at the vote where she went home, she voted for Susie when she was supposed to vote for Eric. And so Randy has been playing up all week that he had voted for Eric voted for Susie. Well, all the girls voted for Eric, and no one's there to say that he's wrong. And so the men have built trust with him, and he's using his double agent status to be able to plan out his moves moving forward, which is just incredible.
And I think I want to give a little bit of credit to, first of all, Susie in that first vote for telling Randy that she would protect him by saying, look, we'll tell the men that it was Crystal. You know, you don't have to worry about that. And I think that that's helped bond Randy closer to the women and encourage him to vote with them again. But also in the second vote, Devins was the one who came up with the plan to conceal Randy's flop, which I thought was super interesting. Did not see Devins coming in any sort of way strategically, but to his credit, he's really stepped up strategically. I wish we could see more of him personally to go along with that, but hey, at least it's something.
My favorite running gag on that tribe is just whenever Susie mentions Devin, she just goes, "Oh, that office worker from Arizona," because it's the only thing she knows about him.
Yeah. And I think, we were talking about the possibility of Devins going tonight and that being okay because he would have fulfilled his duty. I hope if he does stay, we get to see more of the strategy from him, but I'm fine with him going.
Hey, I mean, all you need is one big moment in the season for us to love you. And he got his. There's just more people that I want to see around longer in the merge. So if they take him out, they take him out. Way to go.
Yeah, I think looking forward, everybody's firing on all cylinders. I think really the weakest evidence of we don't know what will happen are the men on Taraku, where we have Marcus, Maddie, and Ron, who we don't know a whole lot about, and Charlie, but to a lesser extent, Charlie. I think the interesting thing there is Marcus and Ron's feud.
It's so funny.
I'm looking forward to see what that happens, but it's crazy that there are, I'll say 3 really strong female players and Jillian on that tribe, and none of them have been targeted because they're running circles around these men.
Well, we've talked about this before, that activity level and the people who are online at the same time as you really determine like your strategy in the game. And I mean, we've seen since the swap that Reem and Lauren are both kind of out to get each other. They realize that the other one's a threat. They don't really think they can trust each other. But the fact that Ron and Marcus and Maddie and Charlie are only checking in periodically, whereas the girls are online all day, really has left the girls no choice but to work with each other because they have no idea where the guys' heads are at strategically. They don't know if they're going to be able to trust them long term because they just don't have the relationship built up with them. So
yeah. I really think that not going to tribal at all in the first week fucking destroyed those men because they didn't really have to log on at all. They didn't really build any trust through any votes. I think the women got trial by fire, and we lost Jacquie through that, who has been fantastic on the working side. But I feel like that just put them in a game mode that the men just haven't caught up to at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like, their knives were sharpened when they went into that swap and the men were lazy. They weren't showing up as much. They weren't having to do much to build trust with each other. I think that showed. And also, I think it's interesting talking about this with Ace. They use these almost inactive people to their benefit with Devins. But the problem with that is that you can't build a strong bond with those people, so you can't really trust that they'll stay with you. So yeah, while it's great that someone who's not there is a vote for you, they may not be a vote for you. And I think that's another negative towards keeping inactives around.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I mean, I think that one of the things that's been really eye-opening is that the men, when they swapped over on Atlasova, had a 5-person majority. And I think people just get in this mindset, especially on newbie seasons, where they're just I'm in the majority. I just want to stay safe till merge. And they don't think about the fact that there are other people on their tribe who might be thinking a little bit further, who might realize their position in the tribe and realize that it's not in their best interest to just stick 5 strong. And I think one of the best parts about this week is that, we saw Randy realize his position. We saw Randy realize the opportunity to better his lot by jumping over with Susie and Aurora, and then be able to use that information to drag Devins over with him. And I think that that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think, going into a merge, I think we'll still see a little bit of men versus women. I think it'd be crazy for them not to worry about that at all going forward, especially if a couple of men get booted first. I think that would not be a good thing for the women. I think really...
No, I agree.
I think playing the best game would be to kind of mix up the boots just based on loyalty, but we'll see what happens. I think it will kind of revert back after a while, but we'll see what happens. I think that the women are in a much better position going into this than the men are. I think Charlie and Eric are on the run, and I think that even the men on the other tribe have already drawn battle lines against each other. So it does not look good going into this swap for them. But when push comes to shove, they could all pile on Jillian. You never know.
It's so true. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to see it.
The one thing I'm really nervous about with the women, though, and when I think about people who I think could win right now, is that the women have been putting off going after each other for so long that I think they're just not going to be able to help it after a period of time, and just a lot of the big threats are going to start trying to take each other out. Not too early, but relatively early. And so I'm a little nervous about that.
Yeah, I agree. Really, for me, the whole men versus women thing is over. Like, I just want the best characters to continue. But that just so happens to be all the women. All the women in Randy really are the most interesting. I'd like for them to step up. I really think Ron, Marcus, Chris, and Eric all have huge train wreck potential, and I'm hoping that they pull through for me. But so far, not so good. Chris a little bit. I think watching him lose it has been fun, and watching Eric go full villain was fun.
It was fun. I mean, people say it whenever there's like a themed season on Survivor, that like the people who can kind of ride the middle between like the two different sides are the people who are most successful. So I personally would like to see here, like we've seen Reem set up an alliance with her and a couple of the guys. We've seen Susie and Aurora set up their alliance with Randy. I think one of those alliances where people are working with somebody that isn't strictly based on, their original starting tribe lines, but they're looking forward to who they can work with towards the end of the game. I think one of those groups is going to be the ultimate final part of this season. So hopefully some other ones form and some people try and make better bonds and work in more interesting ways. But at the very least, we have a couple good ones.
I think that's the only thing. I know we're going to wrap it up soon. Merge boot predictions tonight. I want to say Eric, Jillian, or Ron, or Marcus. I think those are the four people that really have to worry.
Agreed.
I think for long-term merge, I think my money's going to be on Randy, actually, of everyone. I think he's played both sides well, and I think that's going to benefit him immensely.
My bet is going to be on Michelle. I think that Michelle has been, she's not the biggest threat, and she's now in an alliance with Reem. I think Reem is easily the bigger target between the two of them, but she also has good relationships with Maddie, Marcus, Charlie, and Ron. So whichever ones stick around are going to be people who can work with her. She's got Lauren, who's loyal to her, but not loyal to Reem. And then she also has Aurora on the other side coming back to her, who is through Randy also attached to some other people. So I see her being in a very good spot in the merge.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it. I think so far, though, fantastic drama, fantastic characters. I'm thoroughly enjoying the season. I think I've fully bought into Team Susie and Team Randy. But, I think we have there's a lot of game left to play and a lot of characters left to find. And I think, we're about to see some big moves, some villains made, heroes made, buffoons made. We'll see.
Can't wait.
All right. I think we're going to call it on the pre-merge podcast. We'll get back to you after this crazy night happens and go from there.
See you on the other side.
Okay, bye. I guess I'll just jump right out and start it off. So we are joined by Nofo and Ziggy, our regular co-hosts.
What's up?
Hi,
Hi. And for the first time on the podcast, pre-merge boot this season, Jacquie is here.
I lasted 3 tribal councils, though realistically, I lasted 1.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate to see you go, especially in a 4-3-1, the first of the season. It was a very sad boot. I'm pretty sure I actually contacted you I'm pretty sure I reached out to you. I saw you on Reddit. Your Reddit is can I dox? Are you sorceress princess, or was that your name?
I was really into Danganronpa at the time when I made my Reddit thing, because it's a fun mystery game, but people in that have like Ultimate Link as their character thing, and so I decided to Ultimate Sorceress because I don't know.
That was it. Sorry, yeah.
Really into King.
I think really probably the defining pre-merge boot. Every year we have like someone go pre-merge that definitely shouldn't have, and they were like kind of a bigger character. And I think that was definitely you this season because people are still talking about you in the game.
I noticed that. It's
really bizarre. They're like all dissecting that particular tribal council and saying what you told them and what it's like. That was like the 4 boots ago, but they're still talking about it. It's made a huge impact on the game.
Here's the thing. I was just the first night kill in this Mafia game that I'm playing. The witch side just decided to kill me. So I've just decided this year is a wash. I'm early in all games that I have.
Yeah, maybe just unlucky.
And I've chosen to believe that.
Yeah, I think you had your hand in a lot of different cookie jars, and I think you got caught in one of them.
So, what do you think you would attribute to the reason you went home? What do you think was like your downfall?
I mean, I've made it clear it's Reem.
Yeah, that's fair. That's good.
It's pretty much solely that. I suppose that and me trusting Reem and Reem not trusting me. Those 2 facts, I would not have gone home if either of those facts weren't true.
I think you're right. I was like very shocked by, especially because early on we were saying, no offense, we didn't think you were going to do super well because you were like so 100% on all the time. But we did think you were going to at least make the swap because you were the one driving these alliances. You were the one really getting these girls to play. And then, and Reem had you as like her number 1 ally. And then suddenly she just started talking to Susie. And then she was just like, who's Jacquie? Fuck her. And then immediately started targeting you. It was kind of wild.
I feel like if I'd gotten in with Susie, that could have also worked. But the thing is, I couldn't read Susie, and that made me not trust her, which was probably not the best call because she was clearly a much more influential player than I had. I guess that's not really the right way I'd put it. I thought she was influential. I just thought she didn't have the alliances I thought she had, and I guess that's the third reason why everything happened because I underestimated Susie. That's the third reason.
I think we were all expecting everyone to boot Jillian as like the biggest liability in challenges and annoyance around camp. So it was kind of shocking that you left. I mean, it was great drama with everyone switching votes, and it was kind of mass chaos. But
it's very different depending on whose perspective you're playing it from. Because my perspective is entirely different, I'm sure, than Susie's, than Jillian's, than Reem's, than Crystal's, anybody else's. So, from my perspective, what the situation is I had a tight 3 with Reem and Crystal. Reem told me, hey, I've got this thing that I'm doing with Aurora, Michelle, and Lauren, and come with me and do that. So I was doing that. And because I did that, it caused more issues. But I thought the issue was Reem is having trouble with this other alliance, and also fucking Jillian's here, and I do not want her. Even though we accidentally got into an alliance with her. Hey, Reem and Crystal, can we please take out this fucking liability and maybe try to get along with the other alliance? And obviously that was not the perspective that Reem was playing with.
Yeah, I think Nofo was saying you were the only one who voted correctly.
Thank you.
Honestly.
I don't think that is correct voting, though.
Yeah.
Really screwed them in.
I feel like every girl on that tribe's going to regret that not booting Jillian, because I don't see her going out before the final 3.
Jillian screwed them in challenges, and now she's going to be a GOAT all the way, like Ziggy said, to the end. And they're going to... It was a mistake, and they should have...
It's a final 2 now. It's not even a final 3 anymore. It's basically a final 2 now.
Instead of you, and I really hate that you had to go, because I think if she would have gone in your stead, you'd still be here, and I think you could go pretty far.
And actually win, yeah.
Oh, I really appreciate that, guys.
I'm saying...
But I really do appreciate
she would have had a shot to win, whereas I don't think Jillian has a shot to win.
That's true, yeah.
Merch boot, how's that?
Yeah. So that's sometimes it's more fun than a GOAT to me, at least. But I mean, not that we don't love Jillian. Jillian's hilarious. She's just so, she has such like an oblivious personality and annoying personality that we kind of love on the show. But it's just it can be a little frustrating.
Jillian's fun and all, but it's disappointing to see people, who are playing the game and they're doing, as well as they can, having the full experience. They're playing in the challenges. They have a computer. And,
I sympathize with their technological issues because my computer fucking sucks.
It's just disappointing to see.
Half my time was on the phone and half my time was on my work computer.
When we were casting, you weren't in the first cut, not because of anything personal, but we just had so many good applications this year. And I think, when you messaged me and said, hey, am I still in? What's going on? And then we really started regretting not having you in the cast, to the point where we were like rooting for you getting into the cast. And we thought it was a good chance. Usually we have a few drops, but this year in particular, being men versus women, we thought for sure you'd get in. So at least we were able to get you in there. And you didn't disappoint, that's for sure.
I'm curious. You guys say that I had to handle a lot of cookie jars, and that definitely wasn't my perspective on it. But I feel like it's very different when you're in the game and when you have an outsider POV of the game. So I'm curious, what was your perspective on the girls' alliances and everything along the lines for the first, week I was in?
Wow. I'm saying this maybe from a point of experience in these games, but oh my God, all the girls' alliances were so dumb. Every single one of them it was like 8 seconds into the game, you guys made like a 6 or 7 person alliance. I think with Jillian was involved. And then you guys realized, Jillian's awful. And then you all made a bunch of side alliances. And then you told each other about each other's side alliances. That's like a big no-no. It's it never works out well when you start comparing notes and showing everyone else's alliances. It can be very messy very quickly.
And it was.
Yeah, I think. The women were playing they were playing a late merge game from day one.
Yeah.
Which was highly entertaining and completely what we had hoped for, but it was unlucky for you. I think had these not been divided by gender, you definitely would have made it a lot further, because not just because of, relating to other women. I think more so because a lot of the men were less active, you just don't have to be on the most active tribe.
That Reen had flipped, or at least wasn't in with me. And honestly, I'm surprised I didn't get that from Aurora. I think it definitely would have been in her benefit to kind of have that happen.
Did they not tell you that Reem was coming after you, or did you just not believe it?
No, nobody told me anything.
Oh yeah, that's pretty stupid, but
I
kind of funny.
No fucking idea why they did it. Because there was a very good chance that Reem just got really petty and killed Aurora.
Right. And
I would have gone along with that eventually. Once I realized that Jillian wasn't a thing at all. Yeah, no indication that was happening at all. Aurora had weird cryptic conversation with me that mostly involved like her trying to figure out how I got into their fake alliance, and me saying, well, Reem kind of told me to do it, and her being like, wow, that's interesting. And then nothing. Yeah.
We're gonna go over the merge in this podcast, and it'll be good to have insider information like none of us would possibly have. But before that, I'd just like to wrap up your exit interview, I guess, if you want to call it this, even though it's a little late.
A little.
Yeah, just a little. Would you play again is the first question.
Oh, probably. I don't think I'm really suited for Survivor in the way some people are. I think I had a decent read on some things, but such a wildly off on some other ones that I think I might be the type of person who gets easily fooled by certain things. But I think maybe if I just had a better position or like a less 90 miles an hour start of the game, it might go.
That could also be because it's your first game.
I believe, am I wrong that there was only 2 women on the women's tribe that had played before? Everyone else was a newbie?
Oh, there's people who have played before?
Not like they've never played Stranded, but a couple of them had played Jillian played our Big Brother series. And then I believe Crystal had played an org, a couple orgs on Discord maybe. But the rest of them, usually in our experience, newbies play a lot harder, a lot quicker, and are a lot more active, as opposed to people who have played a couple games before. They're a lot calmer, a lot not as fun, honestly.
Yeah, you can't recreate that first experience. It's a lot of fun.
I like y'all's game advice session, which mostly involved telling us to be as weird as possible. Really solid advice for our continued, success in the game.
We might have cut out some good advice and replaced it with some.
I totally cut out. Ziggy had some great advice, and I was like, I'm not airing that. We need to let them make some mistakes.
You're like, actually, just do the weirdest thing possible, and you'll do great. And then I imagine you guys were winking at each other. It's like nudging, like, ha.
You were exactly what we hoped for.
Yeah, honestly.
Appreciate.
I really think, though, I think everyone took that advice very seriously on the women's side.
Yeah, really.
Everyone was playing. And in that case, not everyone can win. So there were no slouches on your women's show.
What the fuck was up with those polls?
Oh, the polls, yeah. Very, very unpopular amongst the cast. We had...
It killed my game.
Yeah, we did one in Australian straight. We just came off of an All-Stars where we did one, and it murdered some people's games. So we thought, wouldn't it be fun if we did that like a ton of times?
Yeah, we only did it once, and it was like it happened pre-merge at like final 22 or 3, like super early, and it affected people's game like all the way to the end of the game.
Why don't you just lose Sophia all her allies?
Yeah,
it was great. Discord and chaos that you needed to.
Yeah, we just threw another, speaking of polls, we just threw another survey at them to rank each other again. I think I think it'll be a fun way to tie it all together.
Fantastic. Love it.
We might get Ace in here.
Oh.
Any other?
Yeah, what would you do differently if you had to play again? That's my final question.
Yeah, I mean, Groundhog's Day. Great. Love it. Yeah, I would get in with Michelle and Lauren and co. Because I don't think that's the worst option for me. And I think that they're relatively easy. Michelle, I would probably talk more to Lauren and Aurora and Michelle, but not like make like a crazy ass first day alliance thing with anybody else. And I would definitely keep my idol stuff to myself.
For sure.
Because then I think I could go into the swap in a relatively okay position and just keep everybody like in a chill sort of situation with everybody else in the tribe.
It's pretty good. I think everyone's first game is a little
sloppy.
Yeah, that's a good reason. But like, you definitely had the confidence of the two-time player. Like, I don't think that's where you went wrong. I think really it was not being able to rein it in, which is not usually the advice we would give first-time players. You didn't hold back at all. This is good, but
did not hold back at all. You're right.
You there, Ace?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello, Ace.
Yes.
Hello, Ace.
Hello. Hi. How are y'all doing?
Fantastic.
Good. I'm going to introduce you real quick before we get into it. All right, so we're also joined by another pre-merge boot who we think went too early. Is Ace. Went home with an idol.
Yup. I'm used to it by this point, so.
Isn't that how you went out of your other series that you played?
Yeah. When I'll preface this by saying that I played in University of Michigan Survivor College version. Probably heard of like Maryland or other parts of it. Kind of popular, but I thought I'd give orgs a try because I have one buddy who's in our community that does Skype and Facebook orgs. I just kind of found this strolling through Reddit, and the same game happened. I got voted out in my second tribal council ever with an idol in my pocket. So I think history likes to repeat itself, even though your game changes.
It was pretty shocking.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, what would you say was your big mistake if you had to pinpoint one?
I think it was putting too much faith in the guys sticking together because for me, it was seeing that Eric was the one calling all the shots. And when I've played previously, it would be, me, the one controlling how I wanted the votes to go. So that would benefit me. And I wanted shields in a way where I could play a more low-key game behind Chris, who was a more socially active player, and then Eric, who's just a mess. And so that obviously bit me because I also somehow had like a mean comment against Aurora. I mean, I just told her she was gone because, you know, I just like to strike fear into people because that's how I roll. And yeah, I guess that's like the last biter, because I still don't know, like, was it Devin's choice to vote me out, or...
I think it was more the girl. Well, I think their first option was Eric, but he had gotten that immunity, you know, during the prisoner's dilemma.
Yeah.
But I do think the women especially were very set on you, and Randy was like very eager to flip almost regardless of who it was. And
that's fair, yeah.
And then Devin's kind of the same boat. You know, he was low on you guys. I understand him flipping a lot more than Randy, but he was very low on the guys' tribe, so they kind of just settled on you. But I'd say it was more the girls' choice, in all honesty.
Yep, I can blame that on myself. So.
Yeah, I think Nofo knows, or you mentioned at the beginning of the day it was going to be Chris, and then it switched to Ace. Do you remember why it switched?
It was always going to be Ace.
Yeah, I thought it was always Ace. My bad.
Yeah,
but maybe it was Chris.
Let's be like really clear here. None of the choices that anyone's ever made for boiling out in this game has made sense. I mean, except for the first two, obviously.
Yeah, some people have made some very odd choices, which I'm sure we'll go over more when we talk about the merge in this podcast. But there's been some, especially, I mean, I do think both of your boots were kind of odd. I do think the girls kind of made a mistake not going for Chris, because Chris was like so anti-women. He really does not want to work. Maybe I'm being presumptuous, Ace.
I think, I think you're absolutely right. You put way too much faith in Chris and Eric, and it just kind of ruined your game.
Do you know where Dave Pies by any chance?
What was that?
Sorry, I just ran into a sorority girl.
Killing it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I came back to Ann Arbor this weekend, so actually going to see Survivor people in a minute.
Really?
Yeah, we got a little thing going on tonight, so I thought I would come back from down the depths of the biggest armpit of America that is Ohio. So
don't tell half of our alumni they're all from Ohio.
That is crazy to me.
Yeah, we have like a good 5 people from Ohio in our community.
But I will address the sorry about that. Putting too much faith in the guys. I just saw that as like my easiest way out, because I just wanted to sit in the back, but obviously that bit me in the ass.
Maybe it's a little presumptuous. Let me ask Ace. I do think the girls made a mistake targeting you, just because I don't see Chris ever seriously working with the women. Would you have seen yourself like in the future, maybe at a merge situation, working with any of the women, or no?
Oh, definitely. It was me just going the easy way out, as like you probably shouldn't in this game, but that's just like my decision. I was like, I enjoyed Chris so much that I was just going to go whatever decision making he wanted to do. And that was probably alongside Chris. I would just follow suit, because I was like believing in the follower strategy, because nobody wants to be a leader. That puts a target on your back. And then
what up? Yeah.
Probably not Gilly.
No one will work with Jillian. It's very funny.
She continues to be here.
She's going to get go to long until like the final 3 or something. That's my...
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, that's what we kind of all settled on. If you had to play again, what would you do differently, if anything? Did you get that, Ace?
I think he might be gone.
Oop. Well, Rick.
Well, okay. Well, I'll just go ahead and talk about when he was booted. I think it should have been Chris. It makes more sense to me. But what happened was, I'm pretty sure it was always going to be Ace. It was just a question of whether or not Devins was actually going to vote with him. Like, we weren't sure about that until like 7:00 when he finally confirmed that was his plan. And then that was when the boys made the plan to split the vote for some odd reason.
Yeah, I think Lavita said that too, and that was my impression. I didn't say anything because I don't remember too well, but she said Susie would have preferred Chris out, and Aurora was more leaning Ace, which I got the impression of too. I think Aurora is really crazy with her opinions. Like, she'll just throw out names willy-nilly and kind of go to different people, and if she hears something, she'll switch her opinion.
Aurora dominates conversation.
She just has very strong opinions about people, and those opinions really are entirely based on, similar to Jillian, I guess, how nice people are to her. And Ace did insult her, so she's fuck Ace. She had an entire rant against Reem because Reem and her didn't get along. I was nice to Aurora, so she said nice things to me. It's just very emotion based. That's all.
Right.
Aurora is a loose cannon, and I think it's fun to watch, but she just dominates conversation, and she dominates, strategic conversations, and doesn't think about how that's going to fall back on her later. And I think,
Yeah, I think it's hard to blame her for some situations, but I think she really almost cost Susie the game during that swap when she started confronting a lot of the men right after Crystal was blindsided. But really, she didn't have to, because she had Randy as a number, and really all they needed was Randy to pull in Devins. And instead, she went on like a rampage and was telling Chris and Ace and trying to get in with everybody, but also kind of aggressively attacking everyone. It was bizarre. It was to the point where Nofo, at one point, you were like, she's going to cost them their blindside.
Yeah, I mean, that was what I was worried. I was worried she was going to,
I thought she was going to tip off Ace. I was
so worried because I knew if that plan was going to fail, it was going to fail because of Aurora.
Right. That's right.
She just has loose lips.
I think that highlighted, number one, how well Susie is playing. I give Susie a lot of credit for that particular round, but also how poorly Aurora is playing. I mean, she's playing hard, which is commendable, but really I would not trust her with any plans if I was in the game. I'd tell her last and right before council.
She's going to be an early to mid juror. I think she's maybe 10th to 8th. And I don't see her going any further than that.
Did anyone see today? She said something. She told Reem that she was in danger or something, threw her allies under the bus.
It's strange. I think Jillian, Aurora, Reem, and I all have the same issue with this game, and that's why I think none of us are going to win. And we're playing a very emotional game, just in different ways, each of us. Obviously, Reem has very strong opinions about people, and those opinions are, whether strategically valid or not, determining what she does in the game. Jillian's entirely, based on, who's nice and flatters to her. And Aurora also has very strong opinions, but is willing to express them when Reem isn't. And I kind of played emotionally in that I got invested in certain people that I probably shouldn't have. And I think Reem's doing best because obviously she's good at keeping her goddamn mouth shut than the way that Aurora, Jillian, and I aren't. But I think it's the reason why none of us are going to win.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, particularly as to why Reem's doing the best. I think Reem is the least emotionally swayed by what people say to her, but I do think she's the most reactive and probably overreactive of everyone. If she hears her name coming from someone, instantly she wants them dead. And that's not necessarily a bad move.
The best way to play.
She's so aggressive that I can't see that winning out, although it could. I mean, I think of the people you've named, Reem is far and ahead the better player between Aurora and Jillian.
I was definitely the least reactive, but I feel like that came across as wishy-washy and suspicious.
Yeah, I think Reem, I've said it before, I think Reem is the female Russell Hantz. She is totally she's 100% bulldozing this game.
She's fucking Russell Hantz here. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's going to piss a lot of people off going forward. It'll be a matter of if people respect her while she's doing it, or because I could see her getting to the very end and having a problem having pissed a lot of people off even.
I'm very concerned about a Gabon reboot, like a redo of that final tribal. I'm very concerned.
You think it'll be that ugly?
I'm worried about a Bob type winner.
Oh, a Bob type. A Bob type winner wouldn't be so bad. Who would that be here? It'd be like Charlie. I mean, that'd be okay.
I like Charlie. I'd like him to win. What do you mean?
Yeah, well, they're saying a Bob type winner, or someone who's inoffensive.
I don't think we have a Bob.
Yeah, we don't. I think didn't we use Bob up already, or no?
I meant
no. He meant a type of
that kind of character that kind of winner, like someone who wouldn't win, in any other type of configuration, instead of up against, a goat and someone they can't stand.
I keep comparing this season to Vanuatu because obviously,
Men versus women.
Final two, like Chris and Twyla, everybody's so angry that it's these two.
Yeah, I think you guys are wrong. I think honestly, I think there's a lot of gamers here. I think they're when they vote, I don't think they're going to be that emotional. I don't see it being like a super bitter jury.
Here's the thing.
But I have no faith in Reem getting the end.
I don't know about that, Ziggy. I think
Susie also fucked me over. I don't have any bitter feelings towards Susie. Why would I? She was fine to me. I do feel a little upset with Reem, however.
Mm-hmm.
Given how much she fucked with me and how idiotic she clearly thought I was. And I don't think Reem's gonna leave good feelings in people when she gets them out. It's one thing to be outplayed. It's another thing to have that feeling be made to feel like you're stupid for it. And I don't think that people that are allied to Reem are going to get stabbed in the back by her and feel okay about it. The same way I think that, well, for example, somebody like Susie or probably somebody like Randy could handle it even.
I think this is going to be a super personal jury. I hate to say it. I think the women. I think the women in particular are very fractured, and they have very strong feelings about one another.
Imagine fucking a jury speech.
Yeah, I think any one of those women starts on the jury pissed off, and they're going to infect everyone with that same anger and rally the troops against anyone left in the game. I really don't see it being quiet.
They should be really grateful that some people aren't on the jury.
Yeah.
But it is important to know, especially because, if the first juror is someone who's just really angry all season, it can really change the, like if the first boot's like Devins, like
Eric.
He's not going to make the jury bitter. Or, Eric might. But if the first boot's like Devins or something, like I don't see the jury being as bitter if the first boot is like Aurora or like, someone crazier.
Aurora, it would make such a good first juror. That sounds amazing. Let that happen.
I think Eric's in trouble, and I think Devins is in trouble for the first couple, and an outside chance of Aurora. I think Aurora's pissed off Reem pretty hardcore, and we all know what happens when you piss off Reem.